Good evening, friends, and you are my friends. Welcome back. We've been away. We've had a little break, but talking cricket back tonight. Just the three of us tonight. There's me, Rob, and Brandon tonight. Cheers for everyone who's tuning in. Hello to Colin in the chat and Ben Hobbs and anyone else who's in there who wants to get a comment on the screen. Just leave a message in there. And Martin is in the background. He will be pressing all the buttons. Like always, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it is @OneTalkingCricket. So tonight, Test cricket's back. Wednesday at Lord's. Proper cricket returns. Matt Stannard, I know you're going to the 100 tomorrow. So we're going to have a series preview. Give us Test 11s, a little bit of other business. We'll have a little chat about the 100 because obviously it's in the public eye at the minute, but it's sort of take it or leave it with me. I know I think Rob's going to a game. I might have been to a game. We'll have a chat with him when he comes in, but Test cricket returns. So Wednesday morning, I think 11 o'clock, and can't wait. Anyway, tonight joining me is Brandon and the best beard in cricket, Rob. There he is.
Evening.
Good evening, guys. A rumour. I've heard a rumour, Brandon, on the grapevine that you will be making your debut tomorrow night on Talking Town's Extra Time show.
Yeah, very nervous.
Proper football.
Very nervous. Very nervous.
Don't be silly.
Minor leagues.
No. No matter what sport you ask me on, I know everything. Don't you worry.
Oh.
I only have good opinions.
Big stuff.
So we were chatting before we come on air, everyone who's in the chat, and Brandon hit a ton. Tell us about your 100.
Well, all year I've kept getting starts. I've been like James Vince. I've been every score other than two.
Get back in.
Between 17 and 38, every score other than one, which was a duck, and now I've got a ton. It took me 34. It took me 34 overs to get to my 50, which is a very slow go, and I'm an opening batsman. We were 119 for 5 after 30 overs, 45 over game. And then it took me 18 balls in 5 overs to get from 50 to 100.
So what changed? What changed?
Well, I needed a score, and they had decent opening bowlers. So you thought, see what they've got depth-wise, because the standard I play at isn't one where the bowlers keep coming at you really most of the time. There's quite a drop-off. So saw off the opening bowlers, got to my 50, and then put the pedal down for the last 15 overs, managed to get to 100 in no time. 7 4s and 2 6s in my 18 balls.
Did you carry back? Did you get a red ink?
No, I kept on trying to motor, mate. I got 106, then I got caught at Deep Cow. But we went from 119 for 5 to 259 for 8 in 15 overs. So it was good motoring down. We won by
team player, eh, Rob? Team player there.
Yeah, no, done well there. What was it?
What about yourself? Playing much
Division 8? Brandon, what, Division 8?
5.
See you next year, mate. See you next year.
How you getting on, Rob? You been playing much cricket?
I've had a few weeks off. I've been in the camper van for a couple of weeks, which was good. Played yesterday. Looked sublime getting to 30, and then got pinged LBW on the front dog by one of my own team. So not over that yet.
It was too hot yesterday, though, wasn't it? Too hot.
Just boundaries, mate.
We were chasing 385 yesterday. So we all decided to go out there and have a whack from the get-go because we'd rather get bowled out for 150 in 10 overs than 45. Yeah.
Anyway, so a bit of Test cricket. We'll have a quick review of the obviously the one-day series and the T20 series because obviously we've not done a show for a few weeks. What were your thoughts? Sort of still struggling under Butler, aren't we?
I'll go. Well, it's just if you think it's pretty much the same team, isn't it? It's a bit like the Test. It's the same team with a little bit of a leadership change, and all of a sudden, one Test's gone through the roof, and the shorter form's fallen through it. But with the shorter form, it's happened before. A couple of batters don't come off, and you lose a couple of early wickets, and you're chasing the game the whole time, or whatever. Those games weren't particularly close. It's only a few games. It wasn't like 7, 8, 10 games. It was like 3 games and 2, wasn't it, or something like that? And just boring. Butler lost every single toss. There's something in that. He could do with being a bit of a better tosser. And yeah, new captain, you lose 2 of the top 5 or top 6, don't you? Morgan comes out and Stokes, and that's a big deal. So give a few boys a game.
Reset.
Yeah,
a few reset. Get it in.
A few of the boys in the 100 have been putting their hand up, haven't they, for a little nod? So it's only 20 balls less. So
Jason Roy's been starring, isn't he, in the 100? He's doing well. Have a duck today, I see.
Yeah, I think he's got 4 ducks in the 100. He's only played 5 games.
He's got 3 in the last 4 innings, overseas.
Yeah, bless him.
There's a few boys knocking on the door, isn't there? Who could
Phil Salt, get him in. Phil Salt.
Well, he played, didn't he? He played in the one-day series.
He's not put a foot wrong though, has he? Looking at the T20s, he didn't get a nod really there, did he?
No.
I know that there's a lot of batting in front of him in the T20s, but I mentioned, I think halfway through our white ball series against South Africa, I just think with all the talent England have, even in the games that we've lost, in that batting order, we have so much talent. I just think we're too stiff in terms of not changing it in game and not changing it when really good players clearly aren't having form. I'm the biggest Jason Roy fan that you're going to see. He's not far behind Chris Wokes for me. I was going to say,
what does Chris think of this?
Well, no, look, Chris Wokes, they're obviously 2 very different players, but I fell in love with white ball cricket watching Jason Roy and Johnny Bairstow when they were going through that patch where it seemed like they were both getting hundreds opposite each other, the World Cup. And Jason Roy, when he's at his best, is unbelievable to watch against fast bowling.
But he's not got a lot of runs. He's had a real poor, and that's worrying. Games. This goes back sort of pandemic time, Brandon. He's not got a run, has he?
No, he obviously got a ton over at Holland, but who didn't? I think he was dropped, or there was an LBW that wasn't reviewed that he would have got out quite cheaply. That game he got 100 as well. Everyone goes through bad patches. I know that Jason Roy was one that when they sort of asked him before the first 100 game, I think it was, or before the last T20, I can't remember which one, they interviewed him on Sky. And I remember him saying he doesn't feel sometimes when he's got out, sometimes he hasn't felt bad. He's got in, he's felt good. But he is going through one of those stages, isn't it, when he finds a way to get out. And I don't think he's got many really good balls. And that's the frustrating thing. A lot of the times he's hooking and he top edges it and then he walks off at a snail's pace. But I think England have to realise the quality of depth they've got in the white ball game in England, and I really think we've got to start giving people more chances.
I think Roy stays in. I think he stays in, Brandon, and
but
look, we've got the 2020 World Cup coming up in the winter in Australia. I think them pitches out there would suit him, and I can't see him changing.
No, I do agree.
Now, it might be after that, Brandon. If he has a poor World Cup,
I
think 100%. It's like Zach King says there in the chat. Will Jacks this evening got 100 in the.
He's been quality in 2020.
Quickest ever, and he's been getting a lot of runs, Rob, for Surrey this year. So
there's
a lot of players pushing through in there.
Yeah, he got 15 ball 50, which is the 3rd quickest.
He's 360 as well, isn't he? He hits sixes over point off the front foot.
Yeah, he's 23. He's been playing cricket pretty week in, week out for 5 years for Surrey, which is a decent, as much as I hate saying it, is a good side to get into. So no, he looks like it's handy. Bowls handy off spin as well. So knocking on the door. I agree with both of you. I think whatever happens with Roy, he's going to go to the World Cup and he's going to play, isn't he? And then we just yell at him.
I just like to see some more plays. I think these sort of series, we've got so much T20 cricket to play before the World Cup because that's what we're really, all these series we're arranging white ball wise. We are putting 50 overs on the back burner a little bit, aren't we? And we are pushing loads of T20 cricket before we hit the World Cup. These are the sort of series against South Africa, especially when, we've got players there. I don't see why at least one of the 3 T20 games we played, why Harry Brook hasn't got to go, why Will Jacks hasn't got to go. There's so many players that you want to see how they can excel against Rabada, Ngidi, Maharaj, Shamsi. You want to see them against that. They're not always going to be facing, like some of the tosh that, let's face it, there is still knocking around some of the domestic white ball game. There's some players whose run rates off their economy off their bowling's probably lives above 12. But you want to see players like that against top quality bowlers to see if they can make that jump. And a third T20 in a series against South Africa, which doesn't mean much, give them a go. Give some players a rest.
Yeah, it's not really. It's sort of this World Cup, and then I think that team. Well, you've got the 50 over team now. Rob's breaking up. You know, Morgan's gone, Stokes has gone. None of the bowlers are playing, so it's a little bit. I think you're coming to that end of that cycle with both the 2020 and the 50 over team, and it might be a case the 2020, obviously the World Cup this winter, and then that team sort of resets, and then you've obviously got the 50 over World Cup. I think that next year. I think it's in India.
2023, yeah.
So I think that'll probably be the similar sort of thing when that finishes. Like your Rashid's, I think that'll be his swan song, the World Cup there, and then I think you'll move on. And
yeah, perhaps Mo Ali, and maybe Root might call it a day in that format, and maybe Roy and probably one or two others. You're absolutely right, but I'd back us against anyone. I really would, especially if. And we cling to it. But maybe if Jofra's about, he's different gravy. And I just think that a lot of them know how to win. They know how to win games, and maybe win a toss and give ourselves a shout. A lot of our best players, they're playing a lot of cricket. They're IPL, Bairstow, Stokes, Butler. Teams don't want to play us. Teams don't want to play us. I'd rather we were shit now than in 4 months' time. So
yeah, I think I fancy us more for the 2020 World Cup, Rob, than I do for the 50 over it in Australia. I think
India are all over it. I think India will win the next two World Cups. I think if I look at I know cricket, like football, is not played on paper. If our batsmen find form, I don't think there's a better top order in white ball cricket. I really don't. And our bowlers, as I sort of harked on about in the last time we had a pod, our bowlers have completely changed from our World Cup and the series where when we were going through that bright spell. You've lost all your express pace. I know we brought Gleeson in and he's looked good in parts. You've got Topley, who's a real good find. I've got to say, I think Reece Topley would be in my white ball team based on what he's done. But outside of that, you've got a lot of samey sort of bowling, the sort of speed which I imagine
David Willey's a decent bowler, Brandon, if it swings up top for a couple of overs. If it don't swing, in Australia, he'll get panned.
He's the sort of bowler, he'll go for 10 runs off 2 overs, his first 2, and then when he comes back at any point, he'll end up going for 30 plus because his second 2 overs will just go around the park. But yeah, I'm not going to look past India. I think India will probably be in both finals. Unless they do what they've done, I suppose, in the England World Cup and lay an egg against New Zealand or something like that. But all those nations, we have us, Australia, India, Pakistan, New Zealand. All of them have players who can win you any match. In white ball cricket, it is about moments, isn't it? You can win or lose a game in 2 overs. So
good comment there from Craig from Portsmouth on the screen there, Brandon, about Harry Brook. He got 140 for the Lions, didn't he, in the week?
Yeah, and obviously we're going to touch on some Red Bull stuff.
Sooner or later, he's going to have to break into. I'd probably start him in the 50 over team.
Yeah, I've got a couple of. We're going to go through our teams, as you said. Like I've got a couple of asterisks next to some players who I've got down to probably play on Wednesday. But yeah, it was brilliant Lions performance, wasn't it? I don't know whether we're down to talk about that today, but
yeah, we can have a chat about it. Put up big score, didn't we? 620.
Other than what I can presume, they're resting Simon Harmer, considering he's the best spinner in England. He didn't play. They were pretty much full strength in terms of their batting, weren't they? They look quite full strength, and I know they got runs, I suppose, 400 odd, but their bowlers got tongued all over the place, didn't they? Even Sam Cook came in with a positive strike rate, batting at 11. So, but yeah, really good performance. And it looked like the way that the runs were scored were Bazball. Do you know what I mean? It was all scored really quickly, wasn't it?
Yeah, 672 off 117 overs is 5.74.
There you go.
Quality to see.
But should we have a little bit of 100 chat while we're on the sort of white ball cricket? Have you been watching much? When are you going to a game, Rob, or have you been?
No, I'll go 30th of August. And the game we're going to, and the reason we're going is really clear. We're going to watch London Spirit at home, which is...
Is that a double header?
Yeah, double header, women first. London Spirit against Birmingham Phoenix. So there's a lot of decent players there. But the main reason was just to take the family to Lords for 50 quid. For 50 quid, 4 of us go to Lords.
Brilliant.
And You know, it's those people who are listening and tuning in. If you've been, you know, it's a stadium. It's a theatre. It's more than a stadium. It's a theatre. It's the home of cricket, and it'll be. And unlike a lot of these 100 games that have had, 2/3 full, that Lords will be nigh on packed. I would have thought, so it'll be decent. So 30th of August we head down to there, and I'm looking forward to seeing Livingston in the flesh as well. He's high quality, and Mo, just the noise off the bat when he's playing. And shame Adam Milne's injured himself today, but he won't be there. He's sharp. I like him a lot. He's a good bowler. Played against him when he was at Frinton about 7 years ago, Brandon. Fortunately, I got out the other end, so didn't have to face him.
Who's the other opening bowler that London Spirit have? The blonde lad. He's been bowling some. Every time I've turned telly on, he's bowled really well. So Brooks.
He got Warwickshire.
Warwickshire, yeah.
Yeah.
What you made of it, Brandon? Have you watched much of it?
Yeah, I was sort of. Gov asked me the question when I was waiting before the show with him, what my thoughts are, and I don't think what we visualised we wanted the 100 to be. I don't think we've got. If you look at the players who aren't playing in the 100, we wanted it to be the best of the best. Teams to be packed with international cricketers, and this to really be centre stage. This is how cricket. This is how we're going to try and branch it out. You look at the overseas players in the tournament. From what I've seen, there's people who are past their international stage, like some of the West Indians, the Pollards, the Bravos, people like that.
They put their stats up the other day. Dwayne Bravo about the amount of games he played, guys. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and then you've got Tahir, once again, Shamsi's sort of taking his space. I think he's about 40, isn't he? I think he is about
42.
40. Yeah.
42, he's older than me.
But you look at the absence of any form of Indians, any the David Warners of the world. You got De Kock as well, and Maxwell.
Maxwell's there. Maxwell's there, but I think he's
outside De Kock and Maxwell. What other players have you got who would get into their international sides? And that's where the problem lies. You've got England's best, arguably England's best white ball cricketers in Stokes and Bairstow. He's not playing, and obviously a lot of them now.
That's the amount of cricket, though, Brandon. That's through the amount of cricket.
Yeah, it is. But as I said, I don't think the 100 is what they wanted it to be, and I think that you can see that with every time I've watched it now. There's been empty seats. There has been a lot of empty seats at some of these games, and Rob mentioned it as well before the show. That so many lights, and I don't know whether it was Rob or Gov, but so many lights. It's just flashing around. And I said it looks more like an American baseball game with the way it's shown, and it's just I don't like the fact that some of the commentators, when they go to explain anything with any cricket jargon at all, they have to explain it like they're talking to 2-year-olds. And I know that there was a story that was said the first year of the 100, they were told not to use certain phrases, which they're not phrases to try and confuse people. It's just telling you what the bowlers are doing and what the batters are doing. And I don't like how they sort of dumb down the commentary to try and. I know they don't want people's brains to explode when they're watching it for the first time. But I just don't think it's gone the way they want it to be. I mean, even players were leaving to go and play for the England Lions. So I don't think that's how they wanted it to look as well. I know that England Lions and England Red Ball cricket, we're trying to reset, but I just don't think the 100 is what we wanted. Well, the ECB wanted it to be. We don't need it. But
I've got a question for you, Rob. I think the 100 would be more suited if it was just the women playing it. I think it would bring real good exposure to the women's game. The men's game doesn't need it. The men's game doesn't need it. It's overloaded. You've only got to look at the Royal London Cup at the minute, and some of these teams are playing second teams. But you're still getting good crowds. I see Chelmsford on Friday, Brandon, when Essex played Kent. It was sold out. It was packed. So people still want to go and watch.
Yeah, but they're going to watch. They're going to, like you said, they're going to watch the second 11s, and the killer is
it's third team at some of these points. It's you look at I looked at the Essex team that played today, and I've watched a lot of Essex, and I follow Essex quite a lot, and I'm struggling to see a name that I know and think, oh yeah, he would play if everyone was there. Do you know what I mean? Like even some of the players that play in the Red Bull stuff, that they aren't playing. Tom Wesley is the only name I can pick out of the Essex batting lineup that I've really seen. I know Cushy played in some of the T20s, didn't he? Yeah. But yeah, I just think it's a bit
The other issue is you've got second-rate cricket there, but it's more expensive. I looked at it. If you'd have gone to watch Essex and a family of 4, it'd have cost us 2040. It'd have cost us
20 quid.
I think it was 20, and then I think kids are either 5 or 10. So it would have been the same price, if not a lot more, than watching twice as many, 2 games at Lords.
Yeah,
so it's a no-brainer. People are going to go and watch the 100 because it's cheaper.
I had 3 tickets for today's game actually for Essex, and they were 15 quid each. And in terms of tickets sold, it's weird because they aren't allocating you a seat still at Chelmsford for a lot of the games. It's sort of sit where you want sort of thing. So I imagine if they start selling a lot of tickets, they'll have to start allocating seats. Otherwise, there'll be some scraps for the shade, I imagine, this sort of heat.
Callum Brissett there, Rob, in the comments saying he was at Chelmsford today and on Thursday. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Would much rather go and support the county game than the 100.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, the 100's it's 2.5 hours, isn't it? It's crash bang wallop. It's a lot quicker. The 50 over game, you go and settle in all day, and so it's a completely different experience. I've got something for you, Rich. Just before we came on, I did a little bit of a dig. And it's a little bit of a nudge to my IPL opinion, which is, a lot of games, 160 par. Do they get it? Do they not? There have been now 14 games. I've only done it for the men's, I'm afraid. But for the men's, out of the 14 games so far, how many do you two think have been close? And by close, I mean going into the last 5 balls, there could be either result.
How many games have there been, sorry?
I can remember 2. I can remember 2. I think the London Spirit were in 1. Then there was the game at the Oval on Friday.
The 2 London teams to open up, I think they were they were well out of it, weren't they? And they somehow got within touching distance.
I'd say 3.
Brandon?
I'd go 2.
It is 4. My criteria might have been ever so slightly wider than that, but you were right. There was 2. There was the second game. I've numbered them. So the second game, then the 12th game, which must have been the one on Friday because there's been 14 now, and then 9 and 10. So quite 3 of sort of the last 5 games have been close, but literally in the first 8 games, only 1 was close. I think there was one where the Wales got bowled out for 100 and they got it in like 6 balls or something. So it's been crazy. They haven't helped themselves.
What have the 100 done with these scoring then? If you hit bigger sixes, do you get more for it?
No, it's not helping itself that a lot of these games aren't close. And just to jump on what Brandon said about the lack of players, Rashid Khan, Nottingham Rocket for the Rockets, played 1 game. Now he's had to go back. Babar Azam was meant to be playing, wasn't he, for the Western lot, whatever Southern or whatever. Babar Azam's not here. No good pack. There's a third-rate Pakistani playing for the Oval lot.
No Rizwan either. Yeah.
Must be third-rate because he plays for Worcestershire, who are struggling. There's just that big dearth of high quality. But there's some good bits and bobs going on, and there's positives and negatives to it. And like I said to you earlier, it's cricket. I just like watching cricket. But roll on Wednesday, the proper stuff.
So we'll come to that. Before we come to that, I talked about him, I think, a few pods back, guys. Darren Stevens, leaving Kent. 17 years he's been there. 46 years of age, Rob. Still wants to play. So I've got a few stats here. Debut, 1997. 887 games across 3 formats. 17,000 runs, 591 first-class wickets. Where's he going to turn up?
He will. I could see him going back to Leicester where he started. That would make some sort of sense. I think cult hero-wise, there's probably 7 or 8 teams who'd take him. I'm sure he'd get offers. Probably not necessarily test playing, Nate. But there's, like a Worcester or a Derby, Leicester, they might take a punt on him because people want to go and see him just because he's a cult figure. I'm sure he'll get a gig. My guess is Leicester because that's where he's from originally. Go back to Leicester and then potentially become director of cricket or something when he hits 60 or something. But I love it. He's older than me, so it means I should.
Only a couple of years until he becomes director of cricket there.
Yeah, too right. So love him. I think it's brilliant, especially because it's a bit like with Jimmy. He's like a fine wine. Isn't it? The older he's got, the better he's done.
Since he turned 40, they were going to get rid of him in 2019, Ken, and then he's had a golden 3 years, hasn't he? Really, I think he's got a little bit of injury at the minute. They said, but he's hoping to be back for the last 3 championship games. We could go into that last 3 championship games in September, nice. But we won't. Fan of Stevens, Brandon, Darren Stevens, are you a fan?
Yeah, I don't like that he was getting the blame for a lot of England's Red Bull struggles at one point, wasn't he? His name was the reason. But no, I think it's brilliant. Any player who can do a job at his age. Like I'm a big fan of, as you might see here, he's left us a couple of years ago. But players like Tom Brady, you're just doing stuff that no one else has done before at a level that shouldn't be possible, and it is quality to see. I think he should just retire. I'm sure that if Kent don't name a stand after him, I'll be absolutely livid if I was him. But yeah, just go and enjoy whatever you want. If you want to carry on playing, play for a couple more years. Don't push it. Don't go out with an awful injury which might affect you after cricket, is what I would say. You've done enough in the game you put your stamp down in English cricket, hasn't he? So
he definitely has.
Yeah.
So we were here to talk about, obviously, the test matches. Comes back Wednesday morning, 3 test series, which I'm a bit disappointed, if I'm honest, Rob. We're playing South Africa, rated 3 in the world, and we're only playing them in 3 matches. I know it's...
How many? So we had three against New Zealand, didn't we? And then 3 here. This is the first summer, I think. Oh, we had the one with India, didn't we?
Yeah.
So this is the first summer where we've not had a major series. So we've had two little piddly ones. It's a shame, really, because we can only beat them 3-0.
Well, we will come to our predictions. You did predict 3-0 against New Zealand, and we all actually laughed at you. So we probably won't be laughing this time. But it's interesting. Like we're obviously starting to quite late, aren't we? The first 2. Look, the weather's set fair. I know it's maybe turning a little bit this week. Interesting. I think next year, did I hear, Rob, that there's not going to be an Ashes test in August?
In August, for the first time in 100 odd years, yeah. Because of the 100, I thought, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Shocking.
It is, isn't it?
Why touch the Ashes? Why touch a home Ashes series? That is one thing that's not bloody broken.
I presume it's May, June then, the sort of June, July, which, if anything, probably helps our attack anyway.
Yeah.
If it's rather than playing them on sort of spinning decks, not
just
that,
play them in March. Play them in green tops in March. It'll be fine.
We play them in. Yeah, it's been moved to Dubai.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So obviously we named the squad. Ollie Robinson back in, guys. Not played a test since January. He had a run out, didn't he, down in that Lions game, Brandon? I think he got a few. I think he got 5 wickets in the game, didn't he?
Yeah, he got 3 for in the second innings, I think.
I think he got 2, didn't he? So obviously he's in the 14. It's just for these first 2 tests they've picked the squad. Do you see him playing?
I wouldn't play him in the first test, no. I think the seamers that have been playing have been part of 4 wins out of 4. Potts has come in and he's bowled really well. I know that he struggled against Pant and Jadeja, but who doesn't? You got Broad, Anderson, and I think given the fact that it's been baking, I can imagine that there's a chance that the pitch is going to be really dry and a little bit roady, which I think you might need a spinner on. So I wouldn't drop Leach for 4 seamers either. So I wouldn't play in the first game. It's brilliant. He bowled 25 overs in the first innings and 11 in the second. So it's good to see that he's got 37 overs in. But I don't think Potts has done much wrong to be dropped. And as I said, I wouldn't drop the spinner either.
No, I think you're right. I think he'll probably play Anderson, Broad, Potts, and then in the second test, Anderson and one of them will get a rest, won't they, for Robinson?
Yeah.
And then in the third test, the other one gets a rest, I'd have thought. But there's the argument, if the series is tight, they might stick with the best attack. And also, it's only 3 tests, not 5. So,
are you telling Jimmy at Old Trafford then, Rob, that you're having a rest?
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not on that. That's not my pay grade, mate.
I would. We're going to come to our teams, but I don't see Robinson playing. I don't see him playing all series, Brandon. If I'm honest, like Rob's just said there, maybe he plays in that second one because obviously it finishes on Sunday. If it goes 5 days, and then the next test starts on the Thursday, but then they've got a break from the end of August, and the last test at the Oval doesn't start till the 8th of September. So if he's going to play, he'll play in that second test. I would have thought.
I think the only way I see him coming in is if the bowlers that we have a really stinker of a game and we end up losing, which I'm sure none of us here want us to lose a game, or can, after the summer we had with Red Bull, see us losing the game. But
I think it's fair to say as well, he jumps ahead of Overton in the queue.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. I wouldn't have any Overtons near my international career, even though he got some runs and
He
some
got five.
some
He
wickets.
got five.
Yeah, not interested. Not interested.
What about
Not
Chris
much.
Wokes? Where is Chris Wokes, by the way, Brandon?
He had another little twinge, and he said, I think 3 weeks ago, that he was hoping to be back before the end of the summer here. So I think he's got his eyes more set for hopefully trying to get into the England World Cup team for the white ball stuff. But he played a second team game, and I think he broke down, didn't he? I think that
We
was.
don't, mate. We do not want him playing away from home. We've been over this.
You try and tell me in the
He will not be going to Pakistan,
look,
Rob. He will not be on the plane to Pakistan, will he?
When we were doing the World Cup, Rich, when we first started this little this cricket
We've been
show,
here since the start, Rob. We've been here since the start, me and Brandon.
The first message I sent you during that game that we were watching is Chris Wokes is an absolute wizard. Because if you remember his first spell in that game, I think he took 2 wickets for not many. He took a world-class catch, and he's just what a guy. But yeah,
He's
done nothing wrong. He's done nothing wrong with the white ball.
He'll probably come back in the white ball team, but I can't see Wokes getting back into this.
He cannot bowl any further than 100 miles from Edgbaston. If he goes further away than that, he's in a lot of trouble.
Where was the World Cup played?
Which one?
The one where we got knocked out by New Zealand in the semis, where he's probably our best bowler.
Abu Dhabi.
Was that in? Did they play every game at Edgbaston? I don't think they did. Did they? They didn't. Oh, right. Okay. He's a better version of David Willey, who bowls right arm, and now Topley's in the team bowling left arm. We don't need a left arm, so we don't need to put Willey in. If Wokes is fit, Wokes opens a bowling and takes Willey's spot, and he's better with a bat. Thank you. Next.
Well, yeah. Right. Should we name our 11s for this? I think we'll probably all be the same, won't we? I'll let you go first,
Rob. Lees and Crawley.
Yeah, same.
Oak Root. Stokes Bairstow. Folks, back with the gloves, please.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Billings. Potts, Broadleach, Anderson. Easy. I just think, you just hope that, has Crawley found any form by playing in the 16.4? I don't know. Lees hasn't been anywhere near it. Nor's Pope, Root. So
has he got any runs, Crawley? Has he got any runs in the 100?
He got 40 odd the other night. I saw him get 40 odd, and then Pollard came in and got 34 off about 8 balls.
Oh, I see that when he was smashing it.
Yeah, I think Crawley got 40 odd off about 30 balls, and then he found a way to get out. He's had a trim, Crawley. He looks very
Mate, he's our modern day James Vince, but it's a bit like talking about Wokes, talking about Crawley. It's the same stuff every time.
But Wokes is always class. That's when we talk about him. He's always class, and Crawley's noisy. But let's touch on Vince, shall we? Just before we go into the rest of the Red Bull stuff, when we talk about it. My frustrations with Vince has always been whenever we've talked about Red Bull cricket, we've seen what Vince does in Red Bull cricket. He does what Crawley does in Red Bull cricket. He never has an innings of substance, which in Test cricket, it's about big scores. These 20s and 30s, regardless of how you get it, worthless.
James Vince, the point in his career was at Brisbane when was it? Was it the last but one Ashes series when he got run out for 80? Do you remember that?
Yeah, the run out, yeah.
That could have been a break. Yeah, I think that was his moment, Brandon. If he'd have got a ton there, I think it could have been totally different.
Yeah, and unfortunately, what he'd done in the Red Bull cricket, when he then got his chance in white ball cricket, we haven't really seen anything of substance there either. He came in, and when there was Roy injured in the home World Cup we had, he came in at the top of the order, didn't get a score.
Got a medal.
So,
World Cup winner's medal.
I think what we've got to realise is he's just one of those players that at domestic level he's class, but he's had so many chances. And we keep rattling on about some of the people who keep getting chances in the England team now that we have to start moving on to the players who are lined up to take their place. He's had his chances. He didn't ever take them. If he comes back in and he takes a chance, brilliant. But why does he deserve a chance ahead of someone like Harry Brook who hasn't had one yet? That's where I stand on James Vince.
Fair point.
Where I stand. And today, I think he got today I know it's not the right. It's the 100, isn't it? But he got
15
like
off.
20. Did he get 15 off? He was out in like
Yeah.
the 80th ball or something like that. Absolute scratch-a-rooney. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw him.
That's why I messaged. That was why I messaged you, Brandon.
Oh, when you messaged
was
that, I was just before I drove back from Southend, and I was like, "Don't tell me James Vince went and got a big ton or something." So I was a bit worried.
No.
Yeah, he got 15 off 22 balls. So I suppose he didn't have all the strike. He got out on the 8-yard ball, but in the 100, that's not very helpful when you're using over a fifth of your balls and only getting 15. So
he might come back in the one-day team, Brandon. He could get a gig again, possibly somewhere along the line. Not testing.
How many more people should be in front of him because they haven't got a go yet? You know, that's the only thing.
I'm not the chief selector, so
Salt and Jax, all three that we've talked about already should be ahead of him because they haven't had a go yet.
Who's your asterisks against? You said there was a couple.
Well, these are more so because I think the people who are in form don't bat in these areas. I think the asterisks are where they have been against Crawley and Pope. I think that you saw Dan Lawrence scored a runner ball 97. You saw Ben Duckett get 140 odd, Harry Brook get 140 odd. I think if any of those were an opener, I'd be wanting them in instead of Crawley, if I'm being completely honest with you. But none of them are.
Is Crawley an opener?
No, well, no, he's not, and that's why I suppose you can also pass some of his poor performance down to the fact that he's a square peg in a round hole. But I think if we had any openers in the country that played in the fashion that we want to play red ball cricket in form, and if Duckett...
Where did Duckett bat? Did he bat middle order?
He batted 5, yeah. It was Dan Lawrence batted 3, which the reason I had an asterisk against Pope was really in the series down by default because Lawrence had quite a good West Indies tour, didn't he? But he was injured. Yeah, he was injured at the start, which is probably what allowed the door open for Pope to come in.
Not got a lot of runs though, Brandon, since he's been back for Essex, has he?
No, but it's good to see him score some runs at 3 for the Lions. And I expect, as I said, I think when he's played for England, he hasn't done much wrong. And he took a couple of wickets, didn't he, in the second innings of that Lions game?
Yeah, we like his bowling. I'm a big Dan Lawrence fan of his.
Yeah, he can spin it both ways. He's got a little bit like Livingston in that way, isn't he? He's all action. I love his action. I love the untucked shirt.
Yeah, big fan of the untucked shirt.
Yeah, it's all a bit everywhere, and I like it. But
they like Pope. They like Crawley, but I think they've both got they have to score runs. You can't keep selecting people. What did Crawley get? He didn't get a 50, did he? He got
He got 44, didn't he? He top scored in the first innings when we got skittled, and that was.
And then he batted well in that chase at Edgbaston, didn't he?
Him and Lee's put on 100, didn't they? But as I said on Vince, no score of substance, and that's one thing which I think Lee's has lacked as well, isn't it? He needs he needs a ton.
Well, you realise the problem is that since the last test, there's been naff first-class cricket.
Yeah, so we're going off the England Lions, aren't we? We're going off the England Lions, and that's it. Not. And that is one of the problems. But red ball cricket, I think Crawley's very lucky that none of the openers scored runs for the England Lions. Otherwise, I think he'd been on thinner ice than what he is.
Mate, if Keaton Jennings gets a gig again, I will not be tuning in.
He might. I reckon he could
Pakistan.
go.
He's a quality player spin, isn't he? Good player.
I think he could be in for Pakistan.
He can reverse sweep anything.
No chance. The one thing is that it's interesting. You look at Sibley. Sibley's been scoring consistently this summer, and he's been getting on with it as well. He's even played the odd ball on the offside, so he's sort of buying into the Bazball thing. So
he got 7 off 1 ball against Essex earlier this year or last year. He ran 3, and then there was 4 overthrows. Quality.
So Craig from Portsmouth there says Jennings for Pakistan. We're not the only ones.
He's on the plane. I reckon he's on the plane.
Craig, I want to know. Where is Sam Curran getting in this team, Brandon? We want Sam Curran in. Me and you are big fans.
Well, he's been probably one of the best players in the 100, isn't he?
Is that how you get in the test team?
No, it's not. But, someone's got to play in the 100. Otherwise, no one will tune in. I still see a space at the bottom of the order there. I think if you take out one of the seamers, he's a left armer who can swing it. And his batting is really good. And it's in the vein of Bazball, isn't he?
Gives it a biff, doesn't he?
He's the sort of guy who'd score 50 off 20 balls when you need runs down the order.
It's a funny one because if Lee's, Crawley, and Pope, if one or two of those could turn up, then we could probably
nice.
shoehorn him in at 7. If one or two of them could get some runs, they'd nudge out the one who doesn't, and then just pick him instead of one of those 3.
Just open up with Sam Curran. I hear.
Next thing you're telling me that Woke should be batting up the top.
I already have said that. I thought Chris Wokes at 3 at the World Cup when he batted there after some injuries.
I did see the other day. It was I'm not sure how many years ago it was. It was when he got his maiden century against Pakistan at Lords. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah,
I watched highlights of that. It's the full day, I believe, is actually on the Lord's YouTube page.
Hang on, you've not been sitting there. He's not been sitting there, has he, Rob, watching the full day?
Probably. No, do you know what I do watch sometimes? I put it on when I go to bed. They have on the England page. They have the full days of Sky Sports of the Ashes series when Ian Bell was on it.
Oh,
when Ian Bell was just hitting hundreds every game. They have every single session in full on YouTube of that Ashes series. It's brilliant.
Robelinda.
I could watch him all day. I could watch Ian Bell all day.
Ian Bell. What a player.
That cover drive.
I'll take 2 of that batting lineup from that team into this team any day of the week. I'll take Jonathan Trott at 3. I'll take anyone else to take over Crawley.
Yeah, Peterson would. I've said it before. Peterson would love it this era, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm warming to him on the commentary box as well, you know. He does talk some utter rubbish, but it's good rubbish.
He's a bit too commercialised. He's a bit too, a bit too Craig. What's his name? The the New Zealander who whips it up in the IPL. He's a bit too much like him.
Yeah.
I like Kumar Sangakkara.
You like Ravi Shastri? You like Ravi Shastri, Rob?
Not massively.
No, nor do I.
Peterson definitely laughs at his own jokes, doesn't he?
Obviously he does.
Yeah. He laughs halfway through sentences sometimes, bless him.
The one thing I don't know if you saw it, Brandon, but the one thing for me today, absolute TV gold in between the 2 games. You won't have seen it. TV gold, chaps. What they did was Dagnall, Sangakkara, Greenway, and Alex Tudor had a little impromptu game of survival on the boundary edge.
Brilliant.
Just like we do in the change rooms when it was raining. Absolutely just knocking it, just blocking it, one bounce. Yeah, they couldn't get Sangakkara out. Greenway was out first ball, but they couldn't get rid of Sangakkara. He was beautiful.
What a play. What do we think of the Harry Kane and Matt Doherty 6-hitting competition?
They thought like they were playing golf.
Awful. It was awful. And I thought Harry Kane would have some bits about him, but nothing. Yeah, awful.
Not for me.
It was awful. And the little underarms, come on. At least give him on the half volley. Make it look like cricket. Do you know what I mean? Not for me.
Anyway, so I've got down here, we'll go through the your top run scorers, highest wicket taker, all this. I just want to have a look at South Africa, Brandon. Who do you think are the key players for South Africa? I think we're probably going to talk about Simon Harmer, aren't we?
Yeah, you are, yeah. Simon Harmer, I think Rabada with the new ball. Unfortunately, I can see us being 1 or 2 down early doors quite a lot.
I like Nokia. I like him.
I do. And he's the sort of player that you need bowling when the ball is...
Good bowler.
Donald Duck sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Nokia, throw him the ball, he'll steam in and he'll just hurt you, won't he? You'll get some of the ribs.
A bit like Andre now. Fiery, fast.
Before me, I think. I don't know who that is.
Look him up, mate. Play for Essex. Look him up. Get on your YouTube.
Essex not that long back. He was bowling coach at Essex, Brandon.
Was he?
Yeah. He was fiery.
Look him up. He's an angry bastard.
You've got to remember, I'm not yet 23, chaps.
Lots to learn, Brandon. Lots to learn. The cricketer's beyond Mr. Wokes.
See, I like Dean Elgar.
He does look a bit scary, this Andre Nell. His first picture. He does look like a unit, doesn't he?
There you go.
I like
6'4". Yeah, not for me, 6'4", right arm. He's described as fast medium, though. Is that doing him an injustice, is it?
Wouldn't want to take him on at the Harwich Oval, would you?
Oh, you don't want to take anyone on at the Harwich Low Road, mate. Don't you worry. What an awful place to play cricket. And I play there every other week.
How are we gonna deal with Harmer then, Rob? Smash him.
Yeah. He's just an off spinner. Off spinner's easy. Any batter who's worth their salts. Milk an off spinner, 4, 5, 6 and 0 without trying. Sweep, driving down the ground, get the fielder set, milk him all over the place. Easy. There's no mystery there. Leg spinners, they got a bit more threat unless they're like Parkinson and they bowl 35 miles an hour. Not an issue. Harmer will not do any damage to England whatsoever.
Right,
Thankfully, our batting lineup have two of the best players of spinner, and they're both right-handed in there, in Joe Root and Johnny Bairstow. Two of the best players of spin England have got, and it's going to be spinning into them, which is what they like in international cricket, isn't it?
Yep.
And you look down our order, what you got? You got Lees and Stokes are lefties, and then our tail is as well. So I suppose he might blow the tail away like Nathan Lyon.
Will he play, Brandon? They got Maharaj.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I don't see him not playing Maharaj, and I don't see any team in their right mind playing two spinners in England. It's a weird one, isn't it? He'd walk into our team. He'd walk into a lot of teams, I imagine, other than...
It's funny you'd say about that. I was listening to Tuffers and Vaughan's podcast. I don't know if you listened to it, Rob.
This is the best one for me, mate. This is the one to listen to.
Oh, yeah. They had Simon Harmer on, and they were talking about him playing for England, and there was quite a lot of talk about him, wasn't there, qualifying, and then obviously all the rules changed. Never, ever was a chance of him ever playing for England, Brandon.
Why not? I know they changed the rule, but
he changed the rule, but he didn't want to, basically.
Don't blame him. Well, mind you, there was a space there. Yeah, there was a space there for him.
He met some random guy, Rob, in India. This is where he changed. That this guy had never played cricket, and he was like his guru. This guy had never played cricket. He's taught him a lot, and I think he'll do some damage, Rob. I think you're underselling him. I
don't think he'll be able to, because I don't know where he'll play. Yeah, they rate Maharaj, don't they? I mean,
Maharaj, their spinners are lesser beings than Jack Leach, and I'm not concerned.
Was it Harris used to play? Do you remember him, Rob?
Yeah, Paul Harris never spun a ball.
Paul Harris, that's the one. Pony.
You want to go back to Adams?
Worst spinner I've ever seen, Nathan Horrocks.
Yeah, not
Australia.
Michael Beer was worse than him.
Nathan
Any
Horrocks
Aussie who bowled spin after Shane Warne and before Lyon. Awful.
Colin Miller. Do you remember him? Funky Miller.
Yeah, I liked him. He'd open the bowl in with some seam up and then bowl spin later on. Absolute club cricket dream. My ball.
You don't remember Paul Adams, do you, Brandon?
No.
Look him up.
Was he the one who bowled without looking like that?
Mate, you are going to be busy on YouTube.
Who's that?
In a blender.
It was him, wasn't it?
Left arm.
He was looking at his toes when he bowled.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I had for one of the Christmases when I was like 7, Monty Panesar brought out a DVD, and it was like the 50 weirdest moments in cricket. Yeah, you know the DVD. Yeah, and it's brilliant because in the little segues into another clip, it would show Monty taking a catch, which wasn't very often in his actual career, was it?
No.
Yeah, so I think I saw that on there. Yeah.
Terrible fielder, Monty.
They've never produced a decent spinner. Rabada's tidy. I'm not too worried about the seamers. I think the batting lineup's pretty weak. I like Markram. Faf's, he's a good player.
Bavuma's not there either, is he? He's injured.
Not sure. I didn't know that. Markram and
Elgar. Duplessis not there, is he? Faf's not playing. He's not in.
No, of course he retired, didn't he?
Yeah, he's gone.
Right, mate. No, nothing to fear. 3-0. 3-0. It would be 5-0.
Van der Dussen. Do you like Van der Dussen? I think he's decent.
No, don't rate him.
Dean Elgar.
Elgar, yes, because he's a bit stoic. The rest of them are a bit too loose. I just think especially for a lot of them, it's their first time playing over here against Jimmy and Broad. They'll be in a lot of trouble. They're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Jimmy eats people, don't he?
You look at this, the way that what Sam Connors, who plays for Derby, threes took 4 or whatever, and Robinson
and Overton took a 5. How bad do you have to be?
There you go. They competed. They competed here. I think the last time when we were rubbish, they competed here. But you got to go back to like Pollock and Donald and proper decent seamers. They're not necessarily. And I'm happy to be wrong here, but I'm going big 3-0. Maybe an innings win in there as well. And I might even put a bet on this time. Might back myself. Get some skin.
What about the weather, Rob? I suppose it don't matter if you win in 2 days, does it?
He's not worried about the weather, is he?
No.
We might as well do your prediction then, Brandon, because Rob's going it. What are you going for?
2-0. Rain off. One of the games will be rained off, won't it? I'll do my prediction if there's 3 games. 3-0.
Oh, that's taken. You can't have that. It's taken.
No, I'll take it.
I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1 England.
Don't need that negativity on here, Rich.
Are we doing top bat, top bowler as well, Rick?
We are. You've jumped the gun because series prediction was going to be at the end. So we can do a highest run scorer. It doesn't have to be English. It can be South African.
It won't be.
There you go.
Am I going or is it Rob?
Yeah, you go, mate. Brandon, you go because you'll just copy me.
I don't think I will. Joseph Root
No,
will score the most runs for England.
Yeah, you're right.
And
he will.
Matthew Potts will take the most English wickets.
Okay.
But Rabada will take the most wickets in the series.
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair. I'm going to say Root absolute nailed on for most runs, and I'm going to say Anderson for the most wickets because they won't have a clue against him.
I'm going to stick with. I'm going to go with the main man of the summer. It's Bairstow's summer again. Johnny's going to have another fantastic. He'll get at least 2 centuries, Rob, in these 3 tests.
I think he's probably due a little bit of a failure. He didn't get many.
Keep going. He's going to keep going. He's had a rest.
I hope so. He'll
be there. Ready to score 100 on the board by the time he bats.
Yeah, I'm getting lukewarm. I'm not frosty with him anymore. I'm getting towards lukewarm now. We're talking about 40 degrees now for Johnny. He's growing on me.
That's lukewarm.
Yeah, I'd say that's lukewarm.
Leading wicket taker, you've said
I've got Jimmy.
You've said Potts, haven't you?
Yeah, Potts, but Rabada in the series.
I'll go Broad for England. He needs a big series, Stuart Broad.
Yeah,
is that what you think, or is that what you want, Crunch?
I don't think, because I think Jimmy Anderson, but that's...
Well, there you go. That's your answer then, isn't it?
Let's go on. I'm going to be different.
What I want is Leeds to score 700 runs, but I think that Root will. It's a prediction.
I'm going to go Broad. Come on, Stuart Broad. You can do it. So before we close up, Johnson Commonwealth Games chat, Rob, what happened to England's women? It was all going swimmingly.
Yeah, they lost to India, didn't they? Yeah, it was going well. Big little shout out to the volleyball boys. That was decent. I enjoy watching that. I dropped that in because I actually used to play against those two, so that was good to see them do so well. Good lads. Cricket, yeah, shame. It just came along like so quickly. They were playing like who were they playing? I was there, wasn't I, at Chelmsford? South Africans in one day, and 3 days later they're in the Commonwealth Games up in Birmingham.
Not much advertisement about that at all, was there?
No, not loads. And then they were playing like 3 games a day on absolute dust bowls, and yeah, that probably suits India a little bit better than us, doesn't it? So, it was really good to just see.
Well, wasn't it?
It was good to see them playing like Capsey and Kemp and giving some of these sort of younger new girls a chance. That was really good to see. Yeah, they were gutted. I think, we probably are the second or third best team in the world, aren't we? Just saved us getting panned by Australia, didn't it? So,
well, Aussies took the gold, obviously, and bit of sad news this week, Brandon. I don't know if you remember him. Rudy Cutson passed away.
Yes, the slow finger.
73, 108 tests, 209 ODIs, 14 T20s. My abiding memory of him, guys, is when he walks at the Oval in 2005. Strolls out, and then just knocks them bales off, Rob.
Yes, mate. I've seen that a few times.
England have regained the ashes.
Did you see the one Did you see the umpire? I can't remember, and it's annoying me. The umpire in the 100 on the day.
He done. That's what I was about to say.
He did a really slow finger.
What a guy!
Which was brilliant. That was a really nice touch.
What I remember of there's I think it's in 2005 as well. Mark Nichols' commentary on the Channel 5 highlights. It's a slow finger. It's a death, but it's a slow death, but it's still a death. Ugh. That's what I remember.
Great umpire, wasn't he, Rudy?
Yeah. Billy Bowden. He's one of my favourites. Billy. Yeah.
Crooked finger. Crooked finger.
What a guy.
Any other business, guys, before we look? We're short tonight. 55 minutes.
I'd see that as a positive, mate. We'll take that as a positive.
It's because we don't have the other guys rabbling on, do we? That's the.
Well, that's a bit harsh.
I'm joking. They'll watch this back. everyone picks on me.
We'll be back. We'll come back next week. I think we'll do another one next Sunday if you're around, because obviously that's the 5th day of the Lord's Test match, so we can review that, can't we? And then have a look.
I need to let you know I may be packing because I'm going to Venice the day after.
To Venice.
And I'll tell you what, Rich, if it goes to 5 days, Lords, day 5, might have to get involved.
Free tickets.
Let's get there. Get there.
Get in the queue for tickets.
I think one day next year it has to be a talking cricket day at one of the
definitely.
Ashes Test match. Get it.
So where are we for the Ashes? We've got Lords, the Oval. There's no Trent Bridge.
Edgbaston.
Yeah, that's where we want to go. Get in the Holly stand.
Yep. And I think it's Old Trafford, Edgbaston, two Londons, and Headingley. Yeah, they're the 5. They're the 5.
Trent Bridge, a bit unlucky. I think they're robbed to miss out.
It's what it is. I'm not a massive Nottingham fan, mate. So, yeah.
I think it's all about capacity, isn't it?
He probably is.
Yeah, they just bid for it, don't they? They bid for it and then
do they?
Can choose, yeah. That's why Durham have been in the poo, hasn't it? Because
that's why Cardiff used to
get all their money into that, and then they had a few rainy days up North Shock, and yeah, they were in the shit because they lost a lot of money over that because they bid a lot for the Test about sort of 6-7 years ago. But they seem to come out the other side, right?
Everyone, you can sign up to get in the ballot for tickets at Edgbaston for the Ashes already.
Don't tell them.
I think I'm in. Have you signed up?
Yes, I have. Yeah,
I've
signed up about 4 different email addresses.
Got the email.
Yeah.
Anyway, cheers for everyone for tuning in. The chat's been pretty lively there tonight. Colin says Dickie Bird, legend. I think we all agree with you there, Colin. But yeah, we'll be back next week. I think probably at the same time. If Brandon can make it, that would be. Is it a romantic trip? Is it?
Oh no, I proposed to her in England. Really good decision. It'll be. I take it she'll probably be dragging me around the shops, won't she?
There's a lot of water, Brandon. Pack your wellies, mate.
I'm awful. I can't swim either. I might not come back.
You're not the only one.
Can't ride a bike and can't swim.
You're not the only one who can't swim. Neither can I.
I can't ride a bike either, mate. I'm the most useless.
I can ride a bike. I can ride a bike.
Brandon, I heard rumours that you couldn't play the ball that swings away as well. But
I don't know where you heard about that, mate. I get out to short crap. I get out to half trackers that don't do F all.
Looking on, I was going to say, just looking on Cricket What's It on every Monday morning normally tells the tale. So
I've been caught behind all year, mate. I don't know what you're on about. I don't walk, that's why. No one gives me out.
There you go. Anyway, on that note, cheers for everyone who's tuned in. Cheers for Rob. Cheers to Brandon. Hopefully Neil and Ian possibly might be around next week. But until next time, we will have a good week. Hopefully England perform well, get a victory, and good luck tomorrow night, Brandon, on your debut.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.